Hey everyone.
Picture this. A routine train ride turns into the last journey for hundreds of passengers when a mysterious creature attacks the train. A terrifying beast stalks from carriage to carriage, trapping innocent victims with no chance of escape. The story kicks off at a London train station. Joe Griffin, a security guard, clocks in for a night shift. He's dreaming of a promotion, but his rival snags the spot. Instead, Joe's assigned to work as a conductor on a nighttime passenger train because the regular conductor suddenly called in sick. Joe goes through the carriages checking tickets. Out of nowhere, a tiny dog startles him. One woman, Kate, can't find her ticket. She's forced to pay a fine and is seriously annoyed about it. Another girl, Nina, completely ignores Joe, too busy chatting with her friend on the phone. Honestly, a lot of the passengers are pretty unfriendly. Yeah, not the most glamorous job. Joe's only silver lining is getting to spend time with Ellen, a girl who sells drinks and snacks on the train. He's got a crush on her and asks her out for a drink after work, but his feelings aren't mutual, and Ellen turns him down. Joe retreats to his work compartment, staring glumly out the window. It's a full moon tonight, and the massive glowing moon lights up the sky. Near the final station, there's an accident. The train nearly derails and comes to a stop in the middle of a dense forest. Hardly any passengers are left on board. The train driver announces over the intercom that they've hit something and he has to step out to check. Joe and another passenger help Ellen gather up scattered snacks and drinks. After that, Joe checks on the remaining passengers. They're scared, but no one's hurt. He reassures them that everything will be okay. Meanwhile, the driver steps off the train with a flashlight and sees they've hit a deer. The problem is the animal's carcass is tangled in the wheels and it needs to be removed for the train to move. As the driver tries to free it, a monster leaps out of the forest and attacks him. Joe notices the driver's been gone too long. He leans out of the train and calls for him, but there's no answer. Ellen starts offering food and drinks to the grumpy passengers, while Joe keeps searching for the driver. Realizing it's pointless, he calls transport police for emergency help, but they won't arrive for another 4 hours. The passengers are furious. The loudest complainers are 3 women: elderly Jenny, blonde Kate, and rebellious teen Nina. A man named Adrian suggests they abandon the train and walk to the final station. It's only about 3 kilometers, not too far. According to safety rules, conductors can't let passengers off outside of stations. Joe knows he'll likely get fired, but he can't say no to the passengers. He opens the train door and everyone steps out. So, Joe, Ellen, and 8 passengers start walking along the tracks. Nina strikes up a conversation with a guy named Billy. Adrian flirts with Ellen. None of them realize something is watching them closely. At first, their walk is uneventful, but soon they hear rustling in the bushes. Is it an animal, the missing driver, or something else? Joe and Ellen move ahead a bit and find the driver's body in the undergrowth. It looks like he's been gutted. A wolf's howl echoes from the forest. The group sprints back to the train and piles into a carriage. An elderly couple, Jed and Jenny, can't run fast and lag behind. Something bites Jenny's leg, but the passengers manage to pull her into the train. Joe grabs a first aid kit, and Ellen cleans and bandages her wound. Billy and another guy, Matthew, try to see what's outside the train. They hear claws scratching at the windows. Another howl pierces the air. The passengers freeze in terror. The unknown creature eventually slinks away. Joe tries to contact emergency services, but no one answers. Billy joins him. As an engineering student, Billy knows a bit about trains. He notices the accident caused a fuel leak. They need to fix the fuel lines to get the train moving again. The antenna on the train's roof is also broken, so there's no mobile signal, Joe tells the others. They're horrified, especially since Jenny urgently needs help. She insists it wasn't an animal that attacked her, but something human-like. Joe, Billy, and Adrian patrol the carriages, armed with a gas mask. They hear a noise from the bathroom, break it open, and find a hefty guy named Paul, another passenger. Jenny's wound gets worse, and she starts delirious. Without help, she could lose her leg. Kate tries to calm Nina down, relating to her since she has a daughter the same age. Meanwhile, the unknown monster tries to break into the train. Luckily, the metal roof and thick windows hold it off. Right after, the train's lights start flickering. Nina's phone rings. She answers and steps away from the group. At that moment, the monster smashes a window and drags her out. Blood streaks down the glass. The terrified passengers barricade themselves in the next carriage. Kate has a breakdown. The group decides to use tools to reinforce the windows and doors with metal grates, hoping the creatures can't get in. Jenny's condition worsens. She's constantly thirsty. Kate tries to distract her with talk about family. Adrian suggests to Joe that they sacrifice the elderly to save themselves when the creature attacks again. After all, survival of the fittest, right? Jenny vomits red liquid onto the carriage floor and starts spitting out her teeth. Joe notices someone's missing. Paul, the heavyset guy. Turns out he's got diarrhea and is stuck in the bathroom again. Joe goes to find him. Sadly, Paul's screen time is up. The door's jammed and he can't get out. The monster breaks through the bathroom roof and attacks him. Joe sees a pool of blood under the door and knows Paul's gone. Joe tries to get back to his carriage, but the passengers have barricaded the passage. He's seconds away from becoming the creature's lunch. They open the door just in time, then block it again. But the monster smashes through their barricades and bursts into the carriage. We finally see it's a werewolf. The beast lunges at Joe, but Ellen saves him. It then goes for her. The other passengers protect her, and together, they manage to kill the monster. Matthew fights the hardest. They see the creature looks human but has sharp, wolf-like fangs. Matthew explains it's a werewolf. Once human, now a beast. Adrian recalls that anyone bitten by a werewolf turns into one. Jed, the elderly man, remembers a similar accident years ago. When help arrived, there was no one left to save. Some were dead, others vanished. The werewolf stirs and gets a gas mask to the head. Over and over and over. Another howl echoes from the forest. Jenny looks awful. She's turning into a werewolf. Adrian wants to get rid of her, but Jed won't let him. Jed shoves Adrian, grabs Jenny, but Joe punches him. Joe orders the passengers to tie up both Adrian and Jenny. Jed curses everyone out. Billy, Matthew, Ellen, and Joe make their way to the driver's cabin. Billy shows them what buttons to press and levers to pull to start the train. Joe promises the passengers he'll save them all. He and Ellen stay in the cabin while Billy and Matthew go to fix the fuel lines. Kate tells Adrian she remembers him well. She applied for a job at his company, but he demanded extra services, if you catch her drift. So she refused. Billy patches the fuel line with duct tape and a wrench. A cry for help comes from the forest. It's Nina! Matthew runs into the woods with a small axe to save her. He finds Nina being devoured by a werewolf. Horrified, Matthew flees, but other monsters surround him. He fights back, but doesn't stand a chance. The passengers hear howls near the train. Billy finishes fixing the fuel line. Joe and Ellen start the train and wait for Billy, but he's hiding under the train as werewolves prowl nearby. Inside, Jenny fully transforms into a werewolf and attacks Jed. Kate unties Adrian. As the train starts moving, a pack of werewolves grabs Kate. She begs Adrian to save her, but he pushes her out of the carriage. The train speeds off, leaving Kate in the werewolves' clutches. Meanwhile, Jenny kills Jed and turns on Adrian. Billy, still under the train, accidentally damages a fuel line. The train stops again. Joe takes down Jenny and saves Adrian. More werewolves break into the train. Joe, Ellen, and Adrian try to barricade themselves. Adrian the coward tries to knock out Joe and Ellen to save himself. A fierce fight breaks out. Adrian locks Joe and Ellen in a carriage and flees the train. Werewolves surround Joe and Ellen, but Billy saves them with a flaming torch. He sets the carriage on fire to distract the monsters, letting Joe and Ellen escape. Sadly, it costs him his life. Joe and Ellen race through the forest, but werewolves chase them. Realizing they can't both escape, Joe kisses Ellen and stays behind to fight. Thanks to his sacrifice, Ellen reaches the nearest station. Joe battles bravely, injuring several werewolves, but the alpha bites him, and he turns into a monster. At dawn, Adrian wanders the forest, cursing and threatening to burn it down. Joe, or rather the werewolf he's become, appears before him. Other monsters close in. The screen fades to black, and Adrian's screams fill the air. And that's where the movie ends. So, what's the deal with Howl? Overall, I liked it. It's got atmosphere and a cool concept, but you can feel the low budget when it comes to special effects. Sadly, the scary moments end up looking more funny than terrifying, which undercuts the film's strengths. It's not just the effects though. Sometimes the acting's a bit rough, and the characters' decisions can be downright illogical. which is frustrating. If those flaws don't bother you, the unique story, fresh concept, and eerie vibe will probably hit the spot. That's all for now. Thanks for watching, and catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.